Hey, it's Del Jackson, LLhoops, press break. We got a special guest today. We're starting off a new year with Elizabethtown coach Lee Eckert. How you doing, Lee?
Good, Del. Thanks for having me. Excited to talk some hoops.
Yeah, man. It's always a good time to talk hoops, and it's a new year. So let's start off the wall. What's your New Year's resolution? You can talk about your team or you.
As a team, it's just keep doing what we're doing, keep getting better each week. We had some, we lost a few games early on in a row, and we've won our last two. We got a big week ahead of us, so just kind of keep climbing that mountain. And my New Year's resolution is just be a good dad. I had a newborn in November, so getting through basketball season, so kind of balancing that with my wife and getting on with that. So that's my New Year's resolution, just to be a good dad and be there.
That's pretty cool. That's a great New Year's resolution, and I've been there having kids in basketball, and it's like having a wife that understands that stuff. It's very special, and it takes a lot of work on both people's parts to be active in your kid's life, and then do what you need to do for your team and for your school as well. Yeah.
Luckily, my wife was a 1,200-point scorer at Etown College, so she gets the hoops piece, which is a blessing.
Yeah, she understands that. That's always a good thing too. That's always a good thing. Hey, let's talk about your team a little bit. So I have you down at 1-2 in the league, 4-3 overall, but you had close losses. One on the road to Lebanon. It was a really close game, from what I understand. We didn't have it covered, but it was a really close game. We're getting reports, and then we also have. I saw the Warwick game. And that game was a lot closer than what the final score was. Back and forth. So talk to me about your team, where they're at, what you got going, and how's the future look here coming? You got like 12 games or 14 games left. That's about it. And then, hopefully you'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so obviously that's the ultimate goal, right? League playoffs, district playoffs. That's the goal, I think, for every team, right? That's why we do this, right? You want to be in the playoffs. So no matter if you're young, old, that's the goal every year. So I think our team right now is, like I said earlier, we're on a 2-game win streak now. We just need to learn how to win. We're older. We got a lot of juniors and seniors, but with the COVID year and things like that, we don't have a lot of guys with game experience. Other than Patrick Gilhold, who's a senior, he was on those teams. He played in state games and things like that. But honestly, other than him, we don't have a lot of basketball on the floor experience. So just those early games, like you mentioned, Lebanon, we got off to 17-2, 16-2, whatever it was. And, Lebanon, tough place to play. They're a really good team. They kind of came back, and we had our chances late to kind of extend our lead, but we just never could get a bucket, and then just learning ways to win. So that's kind of been, our growing pains. Like you said, the Warwick game, we were tied at halftime in Warwick, battling the third quarter, and then kind of quick shot, bad shot, and the talent Warwick has, driving kick three, they score in transition, bam, next thing you know, you're down 10. So just my guys understanding quality possessions and learning to win and valuing the ball. Like, it's been fun to watch because we've done it here recently, but that's kind of been our challenge early on.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you who to pick, but
okay,
you've played Warwick and you've played Lebanon, and they have to play each other here very soon. I think I have them down playing this week. I think on Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
Tuesday.
I've noticed different styles. What's your take on both of these teams as they play each other this week?
Yeah, so not a lot of size, like typical. Lebanon obviously last year had a lot of size, but they're both going to spread you out, look to shoot the ball and slash you, and they're both obviously well coached. They've had guys who've been in the league forever, so I expect that game Tuesday night, I believe it's at Warwick, to just be a battle and come down the wire. That's going to be Section 2 all year. CV's tough. Effort has been playing teams tough, so it's just going to be another night in Section 2 and two teams grinding against each other.
I was impressed. I've seen both of those teams this year. I was impressed with their defense on both sides. Lebanon seems to me a little faster, and Warwick seems a little bit more physical. Neither team has like the big guys like you have, but they just seem to play real hard. And I know we're going to talk about your section here and what you're seeing, but that's kind of my take on it. I don't know. Andy and I both thought Section 2 was going to be a bloodbath, and so far Warwick's kind of been a little bit above the blood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll see if somebody can get them.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I know it wasn't technically a league game, but CV gets that, Warwick early on in the year, kind of, raised some flags. So, I mean, it's any night if you're not ready to go. I mean, somebody gets you. So that's fun. I'd rather have a nice competitive section like that.
Yeah.
Every night you better be ready to play.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Talk to me about the brothers, the Guilhoyle. Do I have the pronunciation right?
Yeah, Gilholes.
All right, I'm close. All right, talk to me about having those brothers and having the one guy's really big and the other guy I think he's really skilled. Your senior Pat, I think he's a really nice all around ball player. So how does it work in practice? Do they get after each other? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun having them. Obviously, having size and skilled players, that's every coach's dream. But Pat, I've known Pat, about 6-7 years now since I've been in the program. He's been in the program, the middle school level. He was with us as a 9th grader, and it was just really good for him to be a part of those teams early on, see what it took to be a leader, and how those things work, and him just getting so talented all the time he's put in. I mean, his mid-range jumper and his athletic ability. When he's on, I mean, we played red line the other night. He had 14 in the second quarter and kind of just took the game over, ended with 24 points. So, I mean, obviously everybody talks about his younger brother, who's a sophomore, the 6'9" guy. It's hard not to talk about, but, at our practice and our events, it's kind of, big brother still reigns supreme. So, that outside noise of, little brother, obviously a lot of potential, and he's done a lot of good stuff for us, and he's going to continue to do that. But, we're playing cutthroat, and we're, I'm running the bigs and they're going at it. Like, big brother's still going to push little brother around. That's just how it is. So it's been fun to watch them compete.
Nice. Well, I think the nice thing is when you have brothers that are talented, that they can share a lot after the court and, not necessarily on the court, and older brother giving younger brother. It's like, okay, so, you're down here, but it's a long season, things like that. I'm sure that goes on. Let me ask you about Matt. I mean, you're in a unique situation where the LL usually doesn't have any big guys, and you're a big guy, so you were trained kind of in a low post, but this guy's got some height, and I was really impressed with his hands and his movement at such a young age. So how going forward from now to his senior year, I mean, what are your thoughts as far as coaching him up? And obviously there's going to be a lot of people knocking on his doors, and obviously
Right.
you've had to think about that a little bit. So how are you going to handle that going forward?
Yeah, I mean, just starting with I mean, I've been blessed. I mean, I've been coached by some of the, in my opinion, the best big guy coaches around. I mean, my high school, big guy coach was Dave Brown, which I think's an untapped resource. And I don't think a lot of people know who Dave Brown is, other than the tall guy on Hempfield's bench. He's been there forever, but his background, he was a great player at York High. He played at Clemson in the ACC. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. I don't think a lot of people in the league know his background and know his story. He's just kind of the tall guy yelling, hitting the clipboard on Hempfield's bench. But I mean, for me, just learning from him in high school and all the talent, that he just kind of instilled in me. When I was in high school, every time out, he'd grab me and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? Fake middle, all this stuff." Coach Ian Decker, who played at Warwick, was my JV coach at Hempfield. Just kind of all these things, like those two were very big in the post aspect of my life, and just learning and taking that and kind of instilling that in Matthew. The interesting thing with Matthew is a lot of people don't know this. I just see him as 6'8", 6'9", but he was 6'1" in 8th grade. Over the first COVID shutdown, he grew 8 inches, 6, 7, 8 inches, whatever. I always joke with him, like he says he's 6'9", 6'10". I'm like, I don't know how tall you are officially, but you're a big dude. So when we got him, my first year as head coach, and I knew who he was in the middle school program. But last year being my first year, him being a freshman, it was really basic stuff. Just like, how do you catch the ball in the post? How do you footwork? How do you feel a defender? All this stuff. So, last year, beginning of the year, everybody was kind of like, he's big, got to do this, pounding inside. And it was like, well, he doesn't know how to do that yet. He's got to learn. Like, just because he's big, like he has the frame, but he's got to learn to do it. So even last season, started beginning of the year, kind of bobbling balls, figuring some things out, going pretty weak. And then kind of towards the end of the year, we played Penn Manor late and beat them at the buzzer. And he was an unbelievable force for us in that game, especially early on. So this year, he plays high quality AAU. He's playing against the best players in the East Coast, and he's going to get better. But again, his ceiling is unbelievable. But where's he at right now? He's still a 15-year-old sophomore. That's what people, the community, like, you got the 6'9", like, pounding inside, like, yeah, I mean, he's a 15-year-old kid, like, he's gonna make mistakes, he's gonna do silly stuff. And as people who are educators are in it, like, you get it, he's still a 15-year-old kid, but I mean, he listens, he plays really hard, and it's just cool to see that we played Warwick early in the year. They went zone. He was kind of just floating a little bit, like, not really instilling his will. We practiced and we really broke some things down and kind of broke it down. And I know you had the game for LLhoops. We played at CV and he was unbelievable, especially in the first half, just setting the tone early. So it's just, for me as a coach and as like an educator, just seeing him grow from, the 6'1" middle schooler to where he's at now, it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, it sounds from what you're saying, he's a very coachable kid too, and
Absolutely. Yep.
that's always good when you got somebody that wants to get better. And I think sometimes, as an ex-coach, as a media guy, sometimes people don't understand. You start at a point and you try to get to a different point, and sometimes you got to go through some growing pains, both as a team and as individuals and as a coach, to kind of figure out where you're at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now we're January. I always look at it like January is kind of like a little bit more, not quite half, but you're in the league, and you as a coach right now, you know what you have, you know your weaknesses, and everybody in the league knows what you have, and everybody in the league knows your weaknesses. So it's just those teeny weeny minor adjustments, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, we actually we had to practice today because we played Monday and Tuesday this week. And that was kind of what our conversation was like. Now we're in the new year. We have a non-league game tomorrow, but pretty much the rest of the way home is all LL games. Even our two technically non-league games are against LS and Solanco. So, all LL teams here on out after Monday. So I'm excited to see that. And yeah, it's just kind of that second season, right? So the 2-hour grind practice, we may throw an hour and a half, do some film, a little more kind of laid back stuff as the season goes on, playing multiple games. But it's been good. I've had good leaders. We talking about Matthew. I want to point out, like, Pat, like, having him there. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I've worked with Pat forever. Like, same thing with him. Like, he didn't really have much of a post game either. And again, just because I know it was on the LLhoops live stream. I mean, he had some nice shoulder fake baseline ready hooks, and he scored a couple. So it's fun. We first started doing big man stuff, like, having Pat, like, in my corner, like with Matthew, like, would you listen to him? Like, he knows what he's talking about. Just kind of like, it's just fun, coachable kids who like to compete.
That's nice. Your point guard, Teach. I think is that correct? Everybody calls him Teach. Is that right?
Yeah, Teachiol is his name, but yeah, we all call him Teach. Yeah.
All right, Teach. So I think, just me, I think he's like one of the biggest keys of your team. So it's like, when he's on and he's good, you guys are really good. He handles, he can get to the rack, he can shoot the three. It's that consistency, I think, that you would like to see, to bring into, using your big guy. I mean, the big guy is no good, as you know, unless you can get a guard to get him the ball on the offensive end.
I hate to agree with you, but that is the truth.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, and you and I talked off screen a little bit. You've already mentioned your Hempfield days. So I think I got this right. You played for Coach Goodling and for Danny, correct, during the changeover?
Yeah, so I was, Coach Goodling, Coach Bellew. That's the crazy, this LL circle. My coaching tree. The people who have gotten me where I've been. As a head coach. I was hired when I was 27 years old, 28 years old. It's all the people along the way. I mean, Coach Bellew. I started, my middle school coach was Kevin Blackhurst, who he played at Delaware, like, great coach in the community. Coach Bellew is my JV coach. Coach Decker's my 9th grade coach. And then my junior year, when we were 29-2, we lost to Reading in a district final. That was Coach Goodling's last year. And then it was kind of like, who's going to take over? And then, like I referred to earlier, Coach Brown agreed to stay, which was huge for me and my development individually. And then Coach Walkslide's in there. We start out 0-3 my senior year, and we go on to win the league title after upsetting Lancaster Catholic and then beating McCaskey. So it was a crazy year with Coach Walk's first year. And then, I go to Etown College and play with Coach Slosher, who I knew you were on staff with at one point. And, he's in this area. A lot of people, again, may not know, like, 2-time state champion, Coach McCaffrey brothers. And then, my favorite, Coach Ack, who's helping out Penn Manor now. So I've been blessed. I mean, I can, after a tough loss, like, I'll have voicemails or texts after a big win, Coach Goodling, anybody just kind of reaching out. And, obviously the coaching profession's, very high and low. So when it's in the lows and, I see Coach Ack or Coach Bellew, even, Coach Bellew has been great for me, even though I'm the head coach and we're competing in the same league. And I've called him so many times, especially my first year, just to lean on him and just ask for help. And, just this whole, LL, brethren and everybody taking care of each other with film. We talked about Warwick earlier, like, Bird, Warwick's coach, we call him Bird as the coach's circle. Like, this shirt I'm wearing, like bought from his company. We came over and talked. So, it's just a really cool, LLhoops, LL circle we have. And I've been blessed. I met my wife because of basketball, all my friends, everything. Like, if all those people were at my wedding, Coach Belly was there, Coach Ack, Coach Sasha, like, if those men were in my life, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today. So it's been really cool and I've been blessed.
Let me ask you more recently. So
Yeah.
You were on the bench with Rocky. Okay.
My man. Yeah.
So as you're sitting on the bench, and being a player and a coach is a different world, as you know. So
Yeah.
what things did you take from Rocky to help you where you're at right now?
Yeah. So more of like my coaching, I would say, side of it. Obviously Coach Dolan, he was one who hired me at Etown his last year at Etown, still very close with him from a coaching standpoint, but just being able to stay off with Rocky, just learning, again, I was 22, 23 years old when I started. Coach Rocky took over. And just kind of being like, it's not always going to be that easy. Like, this is going to come off really cocky, but like when I was at Hempfield, like I said, my junior year, we were 29-2, my senior year, we won the league. And it was just like, all right, like, here we go. And, my first year at Etown, I think we won 8 games. Year after that, we won like 6, 7, 8 games. So kind of just the process of that. So that was really big with Coach Rocky, just kind of like, stay with it, man. Like, we're building something good. We have some talent and like going with that. But no, Coach Rocky, I mean, I talk to him, Rock, if not a daily basis, pretty much every other day, just kind of checking in. He was very big, just a teacher of the game. That's where Rocky excels. A lot of people obviously know Rocky's a great personality. But again, you pick up a little bit from everything, right? Coach Goodland, Coach Walk, you kind of grab a little bit, but obviously being with Coach Rocky every day is more of a coaching standpoint than a player. Just how he taught the game and communicated with kids. That's kind of the biggest thing I took away with his knowledge. So, I mean, it worked out perfect for us. He took the guards, I took the bigs. Like, he let me sub. He was very comfortable. Like, I was in a state game. I took out Larry Locker for a minute. He looked at me like for a second, like I was like, just trust me. Like, he needs a minute. Like, we need a minute. So, me and him always joke about that. And he definitely got me ready for, where I'm at now as the head coach. So,
okay. Yeah. Let me do a follow-up question, as I normally do here.
Yeah.
What were the biggest changes from you sitting on the bench as opposed to now you're running a show and you can walk up and down and talk to the ref a little bit more?
Yeah.
What's the biggest change?
So, like, for me, I think it's just tough, like going from the younger assistant role. Like I said, I was 22 right out of college, to like, now the varsity coach role. I think that's been the biggest adjustment. And that's more for me, not the kids.
Sure.
But, I am who I am, though. Like, people have seen me coach, like I'm loud, like I'm giving hugs, I'm patting kids on the back. Like, that's always going to be me, I'm just always going to be kind of in that, how's your day going? How's school? How's this? Like, that's more of assistant coach stuff, but that's just kind of me. So that's kind of been the biggest change. And other than that, just, I don't know, obviously people who are going to watch this are, coaches basketball informed, but the work of a head coach goes in, especially during COVID, but scouting reports, grades, emails from the AD, like all that stuff. When you're assistant, you just kind of show up like, all right, Rocky, give me the practice schedule. Like, all right, cool, thanks. And all the other stuff behind the scenes that, people don't, really think about, that takes up a lot of time.
How difficult was it for you coaching during that COVID last year? I mean, number one, you're getting a job, and number two, now you got to deal with some things that nobody's dealt with. Everybody had to deal with it, but I mean, how did that affect you in general and your program?
So luckily for us, I think, me being there the past couple of years, I didn't have to really start over, change the culture, anything like that. Obviously being there and being with Rocky, setting a great culture. So it was easy that way, but first year head coach, no team camp, things like that. The kids seeing me in a different role. I mean, it was just tough for everybody. I mean, we go through days. It's just like, I'd be at work and it'd be like 2 o'clock, 2:15, and be like, all right, are we practicing today? We're practicing today. And nope, it's like, all right, we're gonna take a day off. There might be a contract tracing thing. So, and it was smart. I got all of that, but we kind of took last year, I'm just, and again, we, just being very honest, like, we weren't going to win the league title last year. We were very young.
Right.
We were very inexperienced. So, our message was just kind of like, look, every day here is a blessing to be in the gym with your friends.
Correct.
I had a great leader last year, and Luke Pearson, who's
Mhm.
playing at Juniata now, and he's one of the greatest kids ever coached. And just kind of leaning through him and just being like, look, man, like high school basketball is the best time of your life.
Mhm.
Like this year is crazy, but you know what? We're getting a chance to do it. So each day we're just kind of little, I want to say more fun. We were practicing, we were trying to get things done.
Sure.
More laughs last year though.
Yeah,
Kind of, wearing masks, kids are just kind of like, kids' mask falls off and everybody's like, oh, whatever. And it's just kind of like things like that, where this year it's a little more normalcy,
Yeah.
like, hey, we have Hershey tomorrow, we got to do this, where last year was kind of just, enjoy the ride and see what we can get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I got a question that's going to throw you off base here a little bit.
I'm ready.
I don't have it written down, but I mean, how does a big guy wind up at Etown? I swear to God, we never had any big guys when I was coaching there. How does that happen? How did the recruiting? Let's just put it like this: How did Schlosser get involved with the recruiting of you, and why did you decide to go to Etown?
Yes, I mean, I was a standard, LL guy, Love Val, Albright, every school you could think of like that, Wilkes, Juniata. And, honestly, it just came down kind of fit and financially. My parents, I don't know if they've ever really missed a game in my life or even now when I'm coaching, they're there supporting. So, I knew I kind of want to be, 2-hour radius. And once all the financial aid packages came in, and they were pretty similar, it was kind of just like, all right, E-Town, Love Val. And I don't know, E-Town, I never really knew about E-Town. I mean, crazy, right? Hempfield, when you're a high school kid, you're kind of in your own little world, and just going up to E-Town a couple times and seeing them play and seeing their bench and their culture and going up there a couple times on a visit or just playing pickup. I don't know, it kind of just felt like home. I know everybody talks about the flex and this, and this, and, it is what it is. But, I don't know, Coach Schlosser just reached out, and the biggest thing for us was Phil Wanger, who, when my senior year, he was at Lancaster Catholic. We were both co-players the year in the LL. Lancaster Catholic won the district that year. We won the league. Will Schlosser, Bob's son, and all of us were kind of, really good friends. And it was kind of like, hey, what are you thinking? Not necessarily like you go, I go type thing, but it kind of all just fell into like, hey, that'd be pretty cool to play with him and being close. And so it all kind of just, happened, and playing for Coach Schlosser was awesome.
So I watch teams and I watch how they play and I watch what they do, and you can't take the coach out of somebody. You watch the X and O's, and all of a sudden the other day I'm like, oh, there it is. The flex is back. You pull it out of your back pocket. You ran some flex. You got some shots off, and I'm like, daggone, man. It's like you learn from the best, and it's always there. It's always in the back pocket. I mean, I remember. Way before your time, AJ Beamer was a coach up there at E-Town. And I'm looking, there it is.
It's just great. I mean, Bob, in our community, in the E-Town community, I mean, I work for Gears, which is like our rec program in E-Town. So I run our youth basketball, and Bob, he'll run tryouts for me. He'll come in the practice and help youth coaches. And, he's just awesome with that. And, just kind of the flex and running it. And, our travel team, like all the kids are very familiar with it. So I mean, there's no surprise in the league, not giving away any big secrets, but we get in a pinch or we need to slow down or get a real good possession. Like, hey, we call it, and again, everybody coach knows this, not giving away secrets, but we call it Rocky. Rocky hates it. So like our flex is Rocky.
Yeah, there you go.
So, we call it, and we have some counters and stuff, but
sure.
It's just what the kids are used to. That's they've been running it since 5th grade travel. Like that's, if we need to slow down or we need to, hey, we really need to dig in and get one here. They just, and it's funny because, some people with the flex, obviously they groan, like, oh, the flex, but I don't even need to call it sometimes. Like when we're struggling, you talked about Teach earlier or Pat, like they'll call it, like, so they're comfortable with it, which has been fun to see.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing, I mean, I was an assistant up there. I learned so much from Coach, and I think Coach is one of the best with young kids.
No doubt. Yep.
He's
absolutely.
He used to do his youth camps. And people would ask me, I say, if you want somebody that's going to pay attention to you and try to make you better, that's the guy you want to see. he's really good with that. And then, you know, it as you said, he's amazing with what he does, and he goes to games, and he still has his fingers in it, and he still does some stuff off to the side, and you know, he's a good doobie. Let me kind of towards the end here. Where are you guys next year? I know the league's going to 4. I haven't dug into it real close. Are you guys in section 2 next year or 1?
Yep. Yeah, we'll remain in 2. Yep. I believe Garden Spot, Solanco, Manheim Central. I think Warwick's with us. CV. I know Lebanon goes up to 1. So it kind of go back to that, you know, 3-4 sections. Just playing a lot of, you know, no more crossovers next year. So that'll be interesting. You know, filling the schedule is always a challenge.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it will be a good competitive league, like always. So.
And you guys are 6A or 5A?
We're 5A. We're 5A team.
5A.
So yeah,
Okay,
yep. So
you'll be in 5A for the next cycle too.
we're I think by 18 kids, something crazy like that. But yeah, we're still in the 5A cycle. Yep.
Cool. So hopefully we'll see you in the district. So you know, 5A, you got to get some points. You're playing the big schools. That helps. I mean, you know, I know it's a mathematical thing, but if you're 5A and you're playing them big boys, you're getting points, and you're playing good teams, so you're going to get points because, you know, they have really good records, I think.
I mean, that's where last year, I mean, we were, again, the COVID year was crazy. We were under 500 for our record, but I mean, Lebanon 6A, Warwick 6A, and then all the section 1 crossovers, obviously. So, you know, we were able to qualify for districts last year. Unfortunately, we had a COVID outbreak and couldn't play, but you know, that's this year. You know, we're 4-3 right now. But as of yesterday, we're 8th in the district for, you know, 5A, just because our strength of schedule and those power rankings, however they figure those out, you know, we're towards the top. So it's definitely fun playing, you know, really good quality, bigger schools.
And if you are in the top, then you'll host at least one game at your place, and that's always cool too.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I mean, even, you know, the years with Rocky, you know, we went to states and all that. You know, we had to go on the road, Shippensburg. You know, Larry Locker hit a game winner for us to qualify for states. But it was a lot of fun. But, you know, just those district games, you know, with the format now, it's just crazy with all the playback games and things you can do and the seating. So, you know, that's what I say to my guys. And luckily for them, they've all been there throughout the years to see it. They've been younger, you know, maybe not playing, but they were in the program. So, you know, just got to get to the party of districts, and, you know, once there, hey, who knows, anything can happen.
Right. And then you also have an extra couple weeks to work with your young kids and also develop for the next year. You have this year, obviously, but
right
time. And again, by that time of the year, hopefully, you know what the heck you got. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
You're not going to get a transfer in March. I'm sorry. And that's not
yeah, it ain't going to happen. But, you know, just especially like our JV guys too, it's fun. You know, getting them, our JV program went winless last year, and they already have, you know, 3 wins this year. So just, you know, younger guys and kind of, you know, building it up. And like you said, it's kind of like this college bowl season, right? Getting those extra practices, and when you make the playoffs, like, you know, it's kind of funny, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But in all seriousness, like when I was a sophomore and freshman at Hempfield, you know, we were going to districts and, you know, league playoffs and just practicing against those older guys for a few weeks. I mean, that's a big wake up call, and it's great for the younger guys to get that experience.
Well, I hope when you get there, you don't have anybody opt out on you. That's what
yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm opting out, going on vacation, coach. See you later.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Hey, big guy, it's been great talking to you. We'll put this up tonight. Good luck. We'll see you again, I'm sure. And it's section 2 games will be covered. So if you got any questions for us or anything, let us know.
Just appreciate what you guys do. I know I speak for pretty much every coach in the league. The first thing, you know, I do, you get on the bus, especially after a away game, you pull up your phone, you know, LLhoops, and just start scrolling, seeing like, oh, Warwick did this, Penn Manor did this, you know, kind of just figure it out. So it's nice where it's all in one, you know, like I was in high school, like, you know, had to run to the library still, like, you know,
or wait till the 11:15 newscast, you know, and then you had to use a clicker to find out the other scores, because not all the scores were called into the same station.
Yep, absolutely. So that was, you know, I mean, I'm only 28 or 29 now, but that was even, you know, when I was playing, it was kind of, you know, LLhoops and things, but the scores weren't as reported as much. So, you know, I tell these guys all the time, like, you don't know how blessed you guys are to pull out your phone and, you know, every score, every stat, and you know, all the coverage you guys get. So it's been awesome.
It's all good. Hey, thanks, coach. Good luck. Happy New Year's. We'll see you on the road. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Dale. Thanks.
All right, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep.